So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, I want to bring up a topic. I've been watching, Anthony Joshua talk about, this Tyson Fury fight. He's come out with um a few strange statements. First he said that, I'm going to send Tyson Fury an offer. Um and it's kind of like it take it or leave it offer. He's going to send him an offer. Then he's saying I'm going to beat Tyson Fury twice. Someone mentioned this to me on my Instagram, that does AJ still think he's the A side, and what do I make of it? Is AJ the A side in this fight? I reckon a couple years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, yes, because Anthony Joshua was in a great place. He was the heavyweight champion. He hadn't lost. He was seen as the man in the division, but a lot's happened. A lot's happened. Anthony Joshua's lost against Andy Ruiz. His stock has dropped. Tyson Fury now is seen as the #1 heavyweight in the world. Ring Magazine have him the #1. AJ might have more belts, but Tyson Fury is seen as the consensus #1. People think he's the best heavyweight in the world, and actually AJ is the underdog in that fight. But I just find the way Anthony Joshua's talking, I feel like, I don't know whether he's finding it hard to come to terms that he's no longer the A side. And what I mean by that is that Tyson Fury gets a 50-50 split with him. Tyson Fury has just as much say in the fight as he does. And when he's saying, I'm going to send him an offer, I don't know what he means by that, because they've already agreed that it's a 50-50 split. The fight's a 50-50 split, which means Fury will get 50% of the pay-per revenue and Joshua will get the 50%. They both bring a lot to the table. And let's not forget, after Joshua was the A side a couple years ago, but there's a lot's happened after he lost to Ruiz. Fury beat Wilder. His stock has risen in America. He's a big star there. Also, he did the WWE. His profile has risen massively. Fury last year, according to Forbes, earned more money than Joshua. That's what Forbes said, not what I'm saying or what anyone. According to Forbes, and then Eddie Hearn shot Forbes down. But let's be honest, Forbes is somebody that Floyd Mayweather has held in very high regard, and a lot of people look at Forbes as very credible, right? Tyson Fury earned more money than Joshua, so Tyson Fury's stock has risen massively. And Joshua, for me, is no longer the A side in the fight. He's no longer an A side in this fight. He's no longer the guy that calls the shots here. And I don't know whether he's finding it hard to come to terms. And I still have my doubts whether this fight, although Joshua said recently, he said the fight's definitely going to happen. And even if I have to relinquish some belts, the fight's definitely going to happen. I hope it does. I don't think Tyson Fury is going to make much of a fuss in terms of the split, and I don't think Joshua is either, because I think they've already agreed that. I think they've already agreed the financial side. But there's a lot of other things that, little things that we may think are minor, that my ego might get in the way, like whose name goes first on the poster, right? Who gets the home dressing room, all of these things in negotiations. There's many things that that get mentioned in a fight of this magnitude. Every little thing gets mentioned, and ego play a big part. Egos play a big part, and I still think AJ thinks, the way he's talking, as if he's the A side and he's the one. I'll send him the offer, it's take it or leave it kind of offer. I don't know, the way he's talking, it just doesn't look good, because like I said, for me, he's no longer the A side, and Tyson Fury's not the A side either. It's a 50-50 split, and they both, in my opinion, have as much say in the show as each other. I don't think it's a case where Fury can say, oh, I'll dictate, and Joshua can dictate. No, I don't think that's the case. Even though people may say, well, Joshua's earned more money. Well, that's not true, because according to Forbes, last year, Tyson Fury earned more. And I'm just going off what Forbes said, not what I said. I'm going off what Forbes said. And according to Forbes, Tyson Fury had earned more money last year. So I do think that Tyson Fury's stock has risen massively. His profile has gone to another level. And although Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua say that, Joshua's on another level still. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. I think Tyson Fury's as big a star as Anthony Joshua in the UK now. They're about par. And like I said, financially, as I just said, that Tyson Fury's earning ridiculous amounts of money. He signed a huge deal with ESPN. This guy's earning shed loads of money, and I only think Tyson Fury is going to go from strength to strength. I think his profile is going to continue to rise massively. Yes, his profile might have not been the biggest 4 years ago when he beat Klitschko and Joshua was seen as the golden boy, but I don't think that is. I think a lot of the British public now like Tyson Fury as well, and like I said, I think it's 50-50 in terms of how many people like Tyson and how many people like AJ. I feel like Tyson Fury also has a huge fan base now. He has a massive fan base. And I don't think it's one that we should... I don't think we should overlook how big Tyson Fury's gone. And let's not forget, I actually think globally, like in America, Tyson Fury is bigger than Joshua. Because let's not forget, when Joshua fought in America, we remember what happened. He got beat. And Tyson Fury just destroyed Deontay Wilder, who everybody thought was a beast. And Tyson Fury went to America and had an epic fight the first time where his stock rose massively. And in the second time, he completely wiped the floor with Wilder. So Tyson Fury's stock in America, he's seen as a king over there. He's seen as the man over there. So Joshua may be slightly bigger here. But for me, Tyson Fury's way bigger in America than Joshua. And if any of my American subscribers are watching this, and maybe you guys can fill me in on this, is Fury way bigger than Joshua in America? I think he is. So again, I don't think there's an A side in this fight. I think they both bring as much as each other to the show. I do. I think Tyson Fury is actually a way bigger star in America than Joshua. Joshua might be slightly a bigger star here in the UK, but there's not much in it. Now, Tyson Fury is huge here. So I do think that for AJ, because he was so ahead of Tyson Fury a couple years ago, I do think it's definitely a hard pill for him to swallow that Tyson Fury is now on par, if not surpassed him. And Tyson Fury and Joshua are going to have a 50-50 split. That might be hard to come to terms with for Joshua. It's not the fact that Joshua's going to earn ridiculous amounts of money. It's not that fact. It's the fact that it's the power's gone. That power control that he had is gone, and he thinks that Fury's just as big as me. He's also getting 50% of the split, whereas before Joshua probably thought I'd get 60-40 or 70-30. Fury was never going to accept that anyway, because Fury's too proud a guy to accept a 50-50, 60-40 split with Joshua. He was never going to accept that. But I think now, because Fury's become such a big name, big star, it's a 50-50 split. And I do think AJ might struggle to come to terms. I think they've agreed that side of it. But are there going to be other things in the deal when they're negotiating that are going to be difficult? Like I said, whose name goes first on the poster? That might sound like a little thing. That might not sound like a big thing to you guys. And it may sound like, nah, that's crazy. But we're not fighting. We're not the ones that are, for us, that's a small thing. For them, it might not be. For Joshua, that might not be. Joshua might want to show that he's the A side in this fight. So his name goes first on the poster. He chooses what dressing room. And Tyson Fury, knowing how Tyson Fury is, he's not going to, he's not going to say, just roll over for Joshua. I don't think Tyson Fury's that type of guy. I think Tyson Fury would say, no, I want what I want. So I hope little things like that don't get in the way of, making this fight. I don't think it will. But again, you just don't know. When it's a fight of this magnitude and both parties are trying to make power moves, little things like that can get in the way, because ego sometimes, can you see either Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua giving in to saying your name goes first on the poster? Think about it. Who would? I hope one of them just acts the bigger man and just says, listen, you can be first on the poster. At the end of the day, they're both going to be earning, 70 to 100 million maybe each. So that shouldn't really get in the way of earning that kind of money. Like, you'd like to think when you're earning that crazy amount of money, that whose name goes first on the poster, you want to get your hands on that. You want to get that money in your bank. So, But again, you just don't know. Both these guys are multi-millionaires anyway. But like I said, until this fight is signed and sealed, I'm not gonna be that confident. You know, for some reason, it just seems too premature for this fight to happen next. I just think there's gonna be a lot of things that get in the way. The Usyk mandatory. There's a lot of things that the Wilder situation with Fury. Apparently, Wilder's got Fury by the, you know what, at the minute, because he's taking legal action. We don't know what's happening there. So there's a lot of things, a lot of hurdles that I think that need to come. Although both guys are talking about the fight's going to happen next, I'm not that convinced until the fight is signed and we get an announcement, right? Also, AJ said another thing which makes me think that, you know, he's trying to make power moves that don't hear, whenever you hear about this fight and you hear other people talking, until it comes out of my mouth and until he goes, I will announce the fight. I will announce when this fight is done. That to me sounds a bit weird as well. Again, AJ, for me, is finding it difficult to come to terms with the fact that he's no longer the A side and Fury brings just as much as him to the fight. That's just the way I'm looking at it. I don't know what you guys think. I'd like to know your guys' opinion. But for me, Anthony Joshua is no longer the A side in this fight. This is a 50-50 split down the middle. And Fury has just as much say in the show as Joshua. It's not a case where Joshua calls all the shots here. Absolutely not. Because Fury brings, like I said, as much, if not more, now to this than what Joshua does. You know, let's not forget, he's the consensus #1. Ring Magazine ranked #1. He's a favorite in the fight. He's never lost, right? And Joshua brings things as well. Joshua, you could say, has the bigger pay-per-view numbers. He's slightly a bigger star in the UK, but Fury's a bigger star in the US. He holds 3 of the 4 belts. So, yeah, Joshua brings things as well. But like I said, I don't think Fury's the one that, at the minute, from what we're seeing, Fury's not the one that's making out like he deserves the lion's share, or, you know, they've all agreed to a 50-50 split. However, like I said, the way Joshua's talking kind of makes me think that, you know, I will announce the fight. I'm going to send him the offer. Just little things like that make me think that, you know, is Joshua struggling to come to terms where he's no longer the A side and this is Fury has just as much say in the show. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to know your guys' opinion. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to smash the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.